What's up, everybody? That car guy Eddie here, and today a video that's been a long time in the making. Today is going to be my tune video. It's been, gosh, a month since I've been saying that I want to do a tune video and I want to compare some tunes. And I'd like to thank everybody that's waited for this because it's been a long time coming. It's been drama, it's been a lot of fun testing, and what I was trying to do, I didn't really get done as well as I would have thought, but that's because we had some issues. So I'm going to cover all of that. So once again, thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, definitely like and subscribe. It helps the channel out. You don't have to do anything with it. Like I said, just subscribe. It's actually kind of cool. Also, drop a comment down below. The comments aren't designed to hate on each other, and I'm going to tell you guys right now that regardless of what tune you get, and if you like it and it's what you want, go for it. That's kind of the gist of it. So you'll have to excuse me, I'm a little dirty. We just got done installing a Hallmaster kit on my brother-in-law's Duramax 1500 diesel. That's a hell of a truck. We're going to do a review of that thing. It's gonna be awesome. So anyways, on to the video. So first of all, welcome. I gotta pump up my energy for this. Anyways, so today's video is actually about these two things right here. And there was a little bit of a questioning as if I even had this, because they didn't sell it to me, but they sold it to my brother-in-law, so I have both of these in my possession. So let's get a little close here. I'll show you what they are. We have the Alba race tune for the KRX 1000, and we have the new Cops tune. Once again, this is a new tune that they actually have out, and, well, that'll be part of the story, so we'll start there. So let's back up a little bit, and I want to talk about these, where this came from. So when I got my KRX, I took it out, and most like most of you guys, I wanted more power, right? I think that the only thing that the KRX is really lacking is power. It's got great suspension, it's got a ton of room, it's a good looking machine, it's just down on power. And the more and more I researched into it, everybody told me, hey, you need to get a tune. And traditionally, when you look for a tune for the KRX, there's one guy's name that comes up, and it's V-Force John. And I reached out to V-Force John, and I was like, hey, I want a tune, and V-Force John was like, no problem, it's like 200 bucks, no, $250, I'm sorry. At the time, all these prices have probably changed by now because it's been so long, but it was like 250 bucks at the time, and I was gonna get the best tune by V-Force John. That was until I started kind of seeing kind of like this bash and this hate going back and forth, and it was people who were anti V-Force John, people that were pro complete off-road Powersports, and then pro Alba. And what you have to understand is that there's basically there's three really big competitors in the KRX market when it comes to tuning. You have V-Force John, you have Alba Racing, and then you have complete off-road Powersports. And then you have a fourth, that Bullfrog company, that's actually based out of Arizona. But there might be some confusion that might just be a grave. Wait, not Bullfrog, River Rat. Thank you. River Rat Tuning, my bad. The one out of Arizona, and it's actually done at a Kawasaki dealership down there. But there's questions on if that's even their tune, because there's a Graves tune out there as well. But everyone says that the Graves tune doesn't give you that much power. So anyways, those are your tunes that are out there. When I contacted V-Force John, it was drama because I lived in California. And because of smog laws, John won't send stuff to California. Californians have different ECUs. You can look at your ECU really quickly, and you could denote whether or not it's a California model. If you look here, the last digit's a 3, it's a California model. If it's a 2, it's a 50 or 49 state model, as a lot of people call it. But it's not a California car. The difference is there's a little bit of smog equipment on here, and the tune's a little different, but you'd have to ask him for more information on that. Anyways, I decided not to go with V-Force John. I saw a video, it was actually made by these guys, Complete Off-Roads Powersports, and they were showing off a turbo kit, or at least what I thought was a turbo kit for the KRX, and it made me super excited, I was like, finally, a company coming out with a turbo. Kawasaki teased it once, they released a bunch of different colors, lame, and then they teased it again, and they released the live valve, or the live valve computer controlled dynamic, the ES version of the KRX, and I was just like, man, that's not what I want. I want turbo, I want power, I want a supercharger. Cowie, give it to me, Cowie, give it to me, and they didn't. And Complete Off-Roads Powersports, I thought, was like super legit, and I was like, oh, they're coming out with a turbo, this is gonna be amazing, it's gonna be great. And I started talking to a couple guys over there, Zach mainly being one of them. And I was like, Zach, you know, this is going to be awesome, but I'm looking at a tune. And he was like, you do not want V-Force John's tune. He goes, that guy, one of us is like a semi-pro racer. The other one of us is a tow truck driver who works out of his garage. And I bought into it. You know, I did. I was like, okay, you know, that's not who I want to deal with, like a tow truck guy, you know? So I was like, well, give me your website, Zach. Like, do you have CompleteOffRoadPowersports.com? And he didn't. And that was the first time that I think I kind of felt, I stepped back and I was like, is this legit? Like, this dude doesn't even have a website. Oh, well, the website's coming. Here's our Facebook. Anybody can make a Facebook. Like, and I didn't really necessarily think anything of it at first, other than the fact that, hey, these guys don't even have a website, and they're like a premier tuner in off-road power sports. So it led me to keep searching around for a reputable company. I wanted a name that was synonymous with racing, that had a brick and mortar store. I want a dyno, I want all that stuff, and that's what led me to Alba. So Alba Racing is based out of San Diego, and I got in contact with a guy named Nate down there. Nate was really friendly, and I called him and I said, hey man, I'm looking to tune my KRX. And I was straight with him. I was like, look, there's the V-Force John tune, there's the Complete Off-Road Power Sports tune, and I don't know what's different between all the tunes. I'm a total noob. Like, I just want the most power. And he kind of laughed, you know, and he told me, he says, you know what? He said that there's really not a whole lot between the tunes, because there's only so much you can do with the ECU. There's only so much you can do with this with an NA machine, advancing timing or adjusting throttle mapping to get more power out of it, that honestly, they're all probably pretty similar. He also then went to tell me that V-Force John and Complete Off-Road Power Sports have been bickering back and forth ever since the Rhino days about who was a good tuner, and in the Turix 4 days of who was a better tuner. And I was like, you know what, dude? Like, you seem pretty chill. You seem really cool. I want you to tune my machine. So I mailed this off to him. I paid him for it, and he tuned my ECU. And I got my ECU back, and I was super excited. But my brother-in-law still wanted the turbo. You know, he's like, Eddie, I want the turbo. I want to go to Complete Off-Road Power Sports. And I thought, what awesome thing would it be to put a video together where you put two cars side by side, right? And you race them right next to each other. You do lap times right next to each other. You swap the ECUs in the cars, you know, and you try to really get some good data, because all of the data that you have from all of these companies is the same thing. It's on pavement, at night, or some horrible view. And I'm sorry, I don't drive my KRX on pavement. So if my KRX goes from 0 to 30 in 2.6 seconds with this tune, and it goes 0 to 30 in 2.3 seconds with this tune, 0.3 of a second does not denote better drivability for me. And it doesn't denote a better tune, okay? So that's the thing that I'm trying to tell you guys. All of these tunes, the V-Force John, the Cops, the Alba, all of these things, they do one thing for you that is super beneficial. And what it does is it gives you your 100% throttle up to 100% miles an hour. So effectively what ends up happening with the KRX ECU is that the faster you go, the electronic throttle body limits the amount of fuel that is open. So if you're at 0, you hit the gas all the way to the ground, it gives you 100% throttle. And as you go up, it's like an exponential ramp. As you go up, it actually backs off the throttle for you to save fuel and protect the machine. So it's kind of cool that it does that, but that's not how you get the most power. If you're on the top end and you back off the throttle and you stab it again, and you hold it to the floor and you're only getting 50% throttle, you're not gonna get anything. It's not gonna feel wow. So what all of these tunes do, every single one of them, is they give you that 100% all the way up to as fast as your car goes, 68 miles an hour. Now, the car is clutch limited to 68. Now, I know I've read things of guys going 70 in their stock machines. I've seen 69 in my stock machine, but I was kind of coming downhill. I was on a racetrack. I was wide open, but I've never seen above 70 miles an hour on my stock machine. And everybody tells me that it's clutching. The clutch physically will not let it go past that. So let's enter Cops and Alba. So we took these out a couple of weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago at this time, and we were gonna test them. And that's when I had the harness video. See the link below. I'm gonna put the harness video in right there. See, YouTube champion. Anyways, So we made the harness video because my brother-in-law flipped. Now, he didn't flip because of the tune. He flipped because we were out there in some super muddy conditions trying to get a tune video for you guys. And when you put the Cops and you put the Alba right next to each other and you go and you take off, the Alba is faster out of the hole. All day long, every day, no matter what driver we did, the Alba is faster out of the hole. But it's also twitchy on throttle. What I mean by that is when you're just idling around, loading it up on everything, throttle's switchy, and that would explain why it's quicker off the gun. Regardless of the jump, regardless of anything, it's just faster. The complete off-road Powersports tune fell on its face out of the hole. It did. It fell out on its face. Like and then it would go. But it definitely fell on its face. When this happened, I got a hold of Zach over at Complete Off-Road Powersports, and I was like, dude, this tune is cool, but it's fallen on its face. And he's like, oh, well, who won? And I was like, well, Alba was faster out of the hole. Cops was faster on the top end, but Alba was faster off the jump. And he started blaming everything. I guess when you tell somebody that their product isn't good, rather than giving good feedback and being like, oh, well, maybe we can correct something, because remember, this is supposed to be the fastest tune on the market. He just was giving me excuses. He told me, first thing he told me was hilarious. He was like, oh, well, right there, look, do you have the vent mod done? Do you have it's been documented that the California model's got the vent mod. You need the vent mod done. And I was like, no, I don't have the vent mod done. Why would I need the vent mod done for this, but not the vent mod done for this? I don't understand. But that's cool. Like, and if I need the vent mod done, dude, tell me I need the vent mod done. We were in communication with Cops all about this. In fact, the reason the tune video is late is because we told him we were not going to review this until they released it on their website and they were talking about it. But other than that, they were like, oh, well, you know, you don't got the vent mod done. And then they said, oh, well, you're using ethanol fuel. You have to use ethanol-free fuel, which doesn't exist in California. So here's the deal. If you have a tune that I can't run the only fuel I could get in California, I'm not running race fuel in my car, leaded race fuel, I'm not running that. I'm not paying $9.99 a gallon for fuel in a KRX to get a 1/10 of a second faster. Like, why would I do that? And why wouldn't you tell me as a tuner? Don't you think you'd be like, hey man, you're gonna have to run the vent mod, you're gonna have to find some ethanol-free fuel. If you would have told me that right off the bat, Zach, I would have been cool with it. Fine. But the fact is, it was like excuse after excuse after excuse. And then the personal attacks were just off the hook. This guy's like, well, your YouTube channel sucks, and da-da-da-da-da. Look, do some research on Complete Off-Road Powersports. I want you to Google their address on Trenton. It is a barn in the middle of a field in the middle of West Texas, okay? That is not a brick and mortar store. If I cannot fly to Dallas, get off, rent a car, drive there, walk in and buy something, you do not have a brick and mortar store. Okay, this tune can be made on a bench tuner that you can buy from Graves Motorsports. $450. Anybody out there can go and buy a bench tuner, get their thing, open it up, adjust fuel maps, tweak it out, lean it out. Leaner is faster and leaner is dangerous. Everyone told me when I was doing this will be the faster tune. But at what risk does the faster tune come? I will tell you guys right now that the Complete Off-Road Powersports tune on the top end was significantly faster than the Alba tune. In fact, up until about 55, 60 miles an hour, the cars were both at about 7950 RPMs, 7850, so 7,850, 7,900. And right about 60 miles an hour, you could tell that that's when the rev limiters were taken off because both cars revved to 9,000. The Cops actually revved to 9,300, and the Alba was capped at about 9,200. We couldn't get the revs above it at all. But it didn't give us any more top speed. But it seems like the Cops gave you that top speed a little sooner. So the review between the two is Alba's faster out of the hole and through the mid-range, and on the very top end, the Cops is faster. But before you just go, oh, well, I'm gonna go buy the Cops tune, this is gonna be absolutely amazing, at what risk does that give you? When you start leaning out your fuel curve, especially in the higher RPMs, detonation happens. And detonation can be very bad. You'll fry holes of pistons, you'll rev the motor too high, and there has been significant drama recently with a gentleman who has this tune right here, who's cracked his block. This guy, and this poor kid doesn't even know it. It happened 2 different times for him. And now it's back at Kawasaki, and he's gonna need a motor. He's gonna need a motor. And every time I go to post a tune video or anything like that, you know, Zach was real big and, you know, with the personal comments, oh, you guys suck and da-da, whatever. I'm just here to document kind of what we have with these 2 things here. Now, my advice. What would I do if I were you? What would I do if I bought my KRX today? I'll tell you what I would do. I wouldn't buy any of these tunes. I wouldn't buy the Alba tune. I would not send my ECU to, I wouldn't send my ECU to cops. In fact, I wouldn't put this ECU in anybody's KRX. Anybody's KRX. 100% never, ever, 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 ever do it. Ever do it. It's just not worth the risk for the little bit of a reward. Anybody can be the fastest for 15 feet. Anybody. Anybody. But remember, you're off-road, okay? 1/10 of a second doesn't matter. 2/10 of a second doesn't matter. It's all dependent on traction, okay? Traction and the lines that you take, what drivability is going to be good for you. I wouldn't even send my ECU to V-Force John. I wouldn't. And John would probably tell you the same thing. Here's what you should do. If you're watching this video and it's after April of 2021, you need to look at the DynoJet PV3, and I'll tell you why. PV3 is a flash tuning system. It is a tuner that is just, it's new to market, it's coming, and a couple of guys already have it. Basically what it does is you hook up the tuner to your car, and you can flash a tune to your stock ECU yourself. Eddie, why would I want to do that? I'll tell you why you want to do it. Because when you blow your machine up running the complete off-road Powersports tune, when you blow it up and you're like, oh my God, I blew my machine up, well, what do? You can flash it back to your stock tune because you have the power to do that via flash tuning. So there's a difference. Bench tuning, you send your ECU to them, they tune it, they send the ECU back, and that's great if you have a cool tuner. But if you have one of these guys that if you have a problem with your tune and you ask them on the boards and they're like, oh, you're banned as a customer, I hate you, that is the shittiest customer service on the planet. Absolutely horrible. So with that being said, I would wait for the PV3. And the reason you want to wait for the PV3 is because the PV3 can tune based upon a tune file. These tune files are going to be readily available from all of these tuners. In fact, Alba has even said, Nate down at Alba has even said he's supporting PV3 tunes. And since he's supporting PV3 tunes, it's going to be beneficial to go grab a PV3. So in closing, what do you do? Do you bench tune? Do you flash tune? What do you do? My recommendation for you would be, if you're gonna tune, go tune it. I would stay away from complete off-road Powersports. I would go with either John, V-Force John, or I would go with Alba. Either one of them, whichever one you feel comfortable with, I don't care. Because I don't know that there's a big difference between the 2 tunes. But honestly, if it were me, I would wait for the PV3. I would buy it from DynoJet, and then I would just get a tune from Alba or from John, and I would tune it myself so that you're safe and you are lucky in what you do with your system. There's no reason to go spend $800 on a 3-year factory warranty from Jared at Big Pines Motorsports and put this in and completely negate your warranty if you don't have a backup to this, okay? Don't make the same mistake we did. Thanks for watching. Definitely like and subscribe, and ride hard, you guys.